I'm gonna be honest here. This is not a video that I'm expecting many people to sit through in its entirety. It's going to be very long, and it's going to be a bit repetitive in the end. And if more than even a couple people sit through this, I will be shocked. And if there is someone who is reacting to this for whatever reason, I'm going to be honest, watch a different video of mine. I have a playlist of my top 10 accomplishments. Watch the next video. It's way more interesting than this, I promise. With that being said, I can pretty confidently say this is the most difficult and amazing thing I've done in this entire game. And explaining it will take a very long time, but I mean, you can look at the length of this video. I definitely have that time. This is Everlasting Encore Red Coins, the stage and star that was a total meme, a total joke, because it was, this star, when Dream Edition came out, this was like one of the things that people pointed to and went, this is why Dream Edition will never be beaten. So I am a combination of shocked, amazed, excited, and a little confused to say that, hey, my name is Pluto. This is my commentary for Everlasting Encore Red Coins. What you're seeing here, right now, is the beginning of the stage. Wow, that really took a genius to figure out. This is the most inconsistent part of the stage. A lot of these jumps are very tricky and are kind of awkward, like that first wall kick sequence, very brutal, especially grabbing the red coin there. And these slopes can be a little tricky as well. There's a lot of things that can go wrong here, and it's very easy to get stuck here. Getting stuck here is very problematic because there's so much of the stage to play. Once you get out of the slope section though, there's a bit of a drop off in difficulty. This section looks pretty impressive, but it's actually not that bad. Now would be a good time to bring up version differences. This is 1.1.5 of Dream Edition, the version we've been playing on for a very long time, since 2020. This version has a couple changes, and Everlasting Encore is one of the main stages that has some pretty big ones. One of the biggest example is this slope section here. On 1.0 versions, these slopes are actually thinner and more difficult to traverse. That's just something that was nerfed in this version. So that's pretty significant. There was also some firsties that make 1.0 impossible. Not to say the star doesn't have firsties, you'll see the only ones coming up soon. Well, not the only ones, but the only ones that kill you. Here I do a dive onto the slope, and that's just to make it so that way I can do a butt slide here, and then I need to get a lot of speed to land in this pipe section. That jump actually killed a lot of attempts, which is quite frustrating. The first 5 red coins were what we, when we were streaming this, because you can see the Twitch chat there, we kind of called this the prison or the jail, because it's very, it's kind of like the Womps to your 120 star speedrun, which is an apt comparison, because look at the time, this star is almost as long as a fucking 120 star speedrun. In fact, this star, the attempt for this star is longer than the community sum of best for 120 star in vanilla, and that is not a joke. So yeah, it's quite long. This is the Womps of the star. A lot of this stuff is a little difficult, like these slope maneuvers, but it is stuff that you can get used to with time. My number one advice for this beginning is just throw hours at it. It took me ages to get past this once when I was just going for the normal stars, not even the red coins. So my big advice is just like, if you're doing this, you just need to practice and practice and practice. There is nothing else that will get you consistent. There are like very few tricks, which is kind of ironic I say that because there is actually an unused strat I use here that Blocky came up with. Blocky suggested doing a firstie ratio. You know, when you get just enough firsties to gain height on a wall kick sequence, he suggested doing that to skip this mandatory firstie coming up. I didn't do it because it's very obnoxious, admittedly, and I honestly preferred this horrible firstie that kills you if you miss it. It is awful. And then this jump back isn't much more forgiving. If you don't get a firstie here, you'll need to do a very precise second frame wall kick to get up the ledge there. It's very difficult. I got lucky and I got a second firstie there, which made the maneuver free, but there were a couple attempts that missed the firstie and just barely did not grab the ledge. With that, we're out of the prison, where we can move on to past the first 5 reds and we can get to the more interesting parts of the stage, which is a kind of funny thing to say because maybe not more interesting is the right term, because they are actually a lot easier what's coming up. But trust me, get used to what you're looking at, because this will not be the last time you see it. That is what we call foreshadowing, by the way. I think it was Einstein who came up with that one. This is one of the trickier jumps that you do multiple times in the stage. This precise wall kick sequence is a little awkward. You need to make sure that you don't go too high or too low, because if you do, you know, false ledge grab or you just miss the wall. And you also have to have pretty good depth perception. Depth perception is kind of a running theme in some of the wall kick sequences. You have to know what part of the walls you're hitting so you have a good idea of when to transition into the next section. That is a skill that you need for the stage, and it's something that's very tricky to get used to. You might also notice my lack of shadow. I pointed this out in some of the Final Tragedy videos, but this stage has the same problem with that stage where it's just too big. It's too much of a chonker. So on the lower parts of the stage, you actually won't get a shadow. There is one section of the stage where that's kind of an issue, but that's pretty much it. It's not nearly as bad as the Final Tragedy ones. The Final Tragedy ones were really bad, but this one isn't as bad. Side flip dive to get over here. So, I actually want to kill a lot of the enemies here because in this stage, I'm just gonna be honest, this stage has reclaims. Reclaims are when you redo a certain section of the stage. This stage has a lot of them, it's known for them, and we're actually going to skip a couple of them, and even then there are still a lot of them. So, it's important that we kill these enemies, and that's actually going to lead to some tricky scenarios where, specifically in one instance where we need to kill a very annoying Chukya. And now we're coming up here on the best red coin in the entire game. This red coin is honestly a masterclass, genius in game design. It's absolutely beautiful. It is the best thing that Rambi has ever made. Like, he will never top this. I honestly don't think there's anything in gaming that will ever top this moment right here. It is genuinely a masterclass in game design. It is absolutely perfect. This rivals like the most iconic gaming moments, like beating Bowser in SMB1. This is better than that. You know, the 1-1 Goomba, this beats Miyamoto. Miyamoto has nothing on what you're seeing right now. Absolutely nothing. This is just a masterclass, ace level game design, and it really just goes to show that Rambi is truly an expert in what he does. Now it's worth noting that you can QSLG back through that entire sequence, but for my sanity, I decided to jump down. I did not time whether or not it's faster to do QSLGs, because I'm going to be honest, I don't want to know. I'm just going to pretend that what I do here is faster, and I think that'll make me have more fun with the game. So, I hope that's okay. This section is pretty simple here. I am holding Z on those jumps, that way I can instantly jump off the slope. If you don't know, if you hold Z out of a long jump and jump on a slope, you'll get to jump on the first for impossible. That only works uphill, does not work downhill. And I think it only works out of a long jump because you're essentially tricking the game into wanting you to do another long jump. It's a pretty neat piece of tech. Here we have a QSLG around a corner, which can be a little awkward, but it's nothing too severe. Keep going, keep going. This beginning here was kind of like the cutscene to play the rest of the stage. A lot of the stage is quite easy, and a lot of the difficulty in stage will come from the length and the endurance, but that also means that the early sections aren't too bad because you haven't been playing that long, so it's like, well, there's not really any endurance here. I haven't, like, yeah, you know what I mean. It's like, when you're not playing too long, like, stuff like this isn't too bad, but the longer you go, the more fatigued you get, and the easier it is to die to a really small mistake you make, so. While these jumps aren't too bad now, they're going to come back in a major way, and they're going to be a lot more stressful and difficult. Nerve control is a big part of this, but I will definitely talk about that a lot more in the later half when it's a little more relevant. For now, I just want to get to the jumps, talk a little about those, and then we can talk about my emotional state, because trust me, this attempt is crazy. You are not ready for what happens in this attempt, I promise. And this is just the beginning. We're past the first 9 minutes or so, 9 to 10 minutes, but there's a lot more. And let's just get into it. So, when I was doing Everlasting Encore for the first time, I had a counter for when I got past this firstie here, this, like, heave-ho firstie maneuver. That's because I honestly think you can divide the stage climb into two different sections, and that's everything before this point and everything after this point. I feel like there's generally a tonal difference when you go from, like, traveling, like, inside and near buildings to, like, the more outside regions of the stage. And I guess you can even consider the section in the red building as, like, its own separate section as well as, like, the ending to the stage. So that's generally like the three, like, thirds I divided into. That particular first E is actually perfectly retryable. I have pretty good consistency with it though. Climbing these slopes isn't too hard either, so just a couple maneuvers. And if you're wondering what the little camera stuff I was doing was for, I have a visual cue when the HEFO starts moving, and that lets me time the wall kick sequence, or to start moving, so that way he'll stop by the time I'm ready to jump. It's a pretty good setup, and it works really consistently. Nothing too notable until this jump right here. This slope is very awkward. If you don't realize, the slope is not actually pointing straight down, it's pointing slightly to the right of the camera right now. So, as I'm doing those jumps, I'm being pushed more and more to the right, which is extremely awkward to play with. It also means that it's very easy to slip off the slope because it's pushing you so much, and it just makes for a very tricky jump. It's something that you need to practice a little bit, but as you can see, I did it very cleanly this attempt. If you learn how to do it, you can get past that pretty reliably, but it's definitely difficult. It is one of the more notable red coin placements, because a lot of the red coin locations in the stage aren't too bad. The main thing that makes the red coins themselves so hard is where you need to go to get them, not the red coins themselves, if that makes sense. We have another visual cue here. I have a texture set up so that way I don't hit my head on the ceiling. Obviously hitting the ceiling cancels your vertical height, which makes you start moving downwards quicker, because, you know, you just go straight to 0 velocity. And we have more quicksand ledge grabs. The quicksand ledge grabs in the stage are very egregious. They were one of the worst parts of grinding it. It got really frustrating doing them over and over and over again because it's boring. It's boring to do so many QSGs. Thankfully, this is the stage with this is like the most amount of QSGs in 1 star I'll have to do for the rest of this game, and hopefully the rest of my life. God, I hope so. So I mentioned the chuck kill, it's kind of tricky earlier. This is that chuck kill. This guy's kind of an asshole. He's in the way, but because we're going to retread this ground multiple times, I don't want this guy here, so I need to have a visual cue there, and also go fast. And also when you throw chuck kills, they throw you slightly to the left, so I have to compensate for that when I throw him there. Now, this section here, you might be wondering why I'm doing a punch cancel long jump here. That seems a little weird. It's not like there's not enough space there in that corner. It's actually because that ground is made of ice. It's slippery. Again, you might remember from Final Tragedy, slippery ground is very difficult to get a long jump off of because Mario takes a very long time to accelerate the top speed. Thankfully, a punch completely negates that issue and allows you to essentially jumpstart yourself to top speed. Arch into this QSLG section here. You can't hear it because I'm commentating, obviously, but if you go to the raw footage, which is in the description, you can actually hear me counting here. I don't have any set BPM or music cue to count. It's just a kind of feel thing, and the reason for the counting is to time out these Kuromame shots, so that way he throws his fire at the perfect time that I can maneuver around these quicksand ledge grabs cleanly. It's a little bit tricky, and I imagine that everyone has their own little bit audio or visual cue for it, or internal cue, mental cue, pool ball cue. That was a dumb joke. Regardless, that's just my personal method. I count to 1, then I count to 4, and then I count to 3, and that works out for me. That was a nice little rhyme. Alright, we're coming up on a part of the stage that's pretty infamous. We have the Troll Star Party. I was watching TK react to me getting the star live the other day. He called this Troll Star City, I believe, which I think is a cute name for it. This section is not cute, it's horrible. I hate it. So, Troll Stars, if you're unaware, they essentially are just a glorified death. It's a death with a cutscene. If you grab a Troll Star, you will get sent at the level, just like a death, but the star counter won't increase. So, yeah, it sucks. And these Troll Stars are in pretty awful positions. They're right in the way of the platforms you're trying to jump to. The second one is especially bad, but I actually changed my strategy to grabbing it to make it more consistent. Normally when I landed here, I would do a double jump, so that way I would slow down faster, but that's actually not optimal. It's better to hold neutral when you land, and that makes you stop instantly. Obviously I knew that, I knew that holding neutral makes you stop instantly, but I didn't know that it would be more optimal than the double jump, but it does make sense. You can see my little sub alert there. I love Sage at Kijin. Alright, so here we have a HEFO that's kind of an asshole. This guy just sucks, that's all. I believe the reason I paused the game here is because I was using a no music cheat code, which means that I was playing music on the side, my own stream playlist. That way, I wouldn't get tired of listening to the music, because the music in the stage is infamous. It's yeah, it's pretty rough. It's not the best port, and the song is very repetitive, which happens to match the stage actually. But yeah, I got tired of listening to it, dude. I listened to it to 70 hours a year ago, and then I listened to it to like another like 30 or 40 here. I'm done. I won't lie, I'm done with this song. I don't really like it. I just had to stop. I had to stop listening to it. Alright, so if you've watched the old Everlasting Encore videos, you'd be familiar with this section. It sucks because this is an extremely difficult walking sequence. What Raimyu was able to discover, at least I think it's Raimyu because he was the first person who I saw this from, but you can actually grind for firsties here. I hate grinding for firsties. It's very annoying. The number that you need depends on how much you strain, but the problem is that if you don't strain enough, you run the risk of ledge grabbing, and if you ledge grab and push A, you're gonna die, because that's Quicksand. So, a little bit of a tricky scenario here. You kind of have Schrodinger's firstie grinding, or I guess rather Schrodinger's A-press. You need to strain to avoid ledge grabbing, but you can't strain too much or else it takes too many firsties. Generally, the range of firsties it'll take to make this work is like 6 to 8, but I think I've gotten it in as low as 4 before. I could be wrong about that, and I think on the other extreme it's taken as many as 10 to gain the necessary height. And these need to be in a row because you need to build up the speed to cross this gap. So, very frustrating section here. It's very easy to get stuck here for a prolonged period of time, as you see, and it's just extremely frustrating. And once again, this is another section that we're going to be doing multiple times in the star, and you can probably start to see why the reclimbs in the star are so brutal. It's not necessarily the jumps you do, but it's the pressure of having to do them multiple times, and that's actually very draining on your psyche. Because every time you die to these jumps, you're thinking, I died to that? I have to do that multiple times in a row. How am I going to do that? That seems impossible. I keep dying over and over. That is very draining, and that's very demotivating. That's one of the hardest parts of the stage, is not getting demotivated. Because there were many attempts in this grind that got 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, even 40 minutes in, and just died. Not to anything in particular, they just died. And if you want an example of that, look at the attempt before the one that got it. 11 out of 22 red coins, a great chance for a PB, died to a Goomba. It's brutal. It's a brutal grind. It is really, really hard to stay motivated in this. But, as you can tell here, I prevailed in some fashion. Here there's an eyeball. He's annoying. So this eyeball is obviously rotating before you get here, but the amount he's rotating, like the point of his rotation cycle can't really be seen. So you just kind of have to jump down and hope he's not looking at you. If he's not looking at you, you can actually build up a chain long jump, which makes this walking sequence a little easier. If he's not, you just have to go for it. Spoiler alert, I think every single time I jump down, the eyeball's going to be looking at me in this attempt. Yeah, that's pretty awful. I hate this eyeball. He sucks. I hate him so much I won't even call him by his real name. Fuck you. If you don't know, an eyeball's real name is Mr. I. So here I'm preparing to jump up, but I'm actually not realizing I forgot a red. It's at this point when I realize I forgot it, and it's just this one right here. There was actually an attempt that died at, I believe, 10 out of 22 reds that also forgot this red coin. It's not a big deal though, because I'll have 3 other chances to remember this red coin exists, so not at all a big deal if I forget that this thing exists here. Once again, the eyeball is looking at me, pretty annoying. I believe if you hook your kick very much, like if you go like very hard right and then forward, it's possible to have the eyeball like de-look at you. I think that's called looking away, but God, words are hard, okay. So just repeating this simple sequence, get back up, and now we're at the good old cage, and everyone loves the cage. Okay, cage time. Cage is one of the more infamous sections of the stage. It killed a lot of attempts. It's pretty rough because it has a lot of things that are very annoying and awkward. And we're actually starting with something that changed from my original route of the stage. When I was first going through the stage, or reds, not the stage, what we would do is we would get the red coin that's inside the cage first, and then we would go to the one that's above the cage. What we realized, though, is that this created a problem. It would sometimes dislocate a heave-ho, and the problem with that is that in combination with this amp you're seeing right now, that could actually make it extremely difficult to get past this jump right here, and that made it kill a lot of attempts. So, what we realized is that if you just do this red coin first, it actually prevents that from happening, and it even transitions perfectly into the cage. So, that became the new route, and ever since then we never died to it again, so that's a pretty good one. It was really frustrating dying to this because, God, this heave-ho is so annoying. The enemies in the stage are so annoying. I hate them so much. They frustrate me to no end. I despise everything about them. They make me embody concepts such as lose and protagonists who are also antagonists. I'm sorry. Okay, so jump down to the cage and do these wall kick sequences. This isn't too difficult, you just need a little bit of camera maneuvering to make this work here. Camera turns to fix the camera, and then here I need to zoom in the camera once I'm past the ceiling, and that makes it pretty good here so I can just wall kick up. Okay, now we have the actual cage jump, and here we have a wall kick sequence which is a lot more intimidating than hard. As you can see, there are invisible wall kicks here. Nobody likes invisible wall kicks, but unlike some of the other invisible wall kick sequences we've been seeing in this game recently, this one's actually pretty easy. There are pretty consistent visual cues for it, and you can pretty much make visual cues that you can modify on the spot. So if you see that on one you're going too low, you can just adjust and also go low on the next one, so that way you follow the wall curve properly and actually wall kick. Despite how intimidating this section looks, it killed very few attempts that got this far. Most attempts, like 90%, maybe more attempts that got to the cage would get past it, because the visual cues in that section is just so consistent, which is honestly shocking because it does not look like that. Here I'm going to use a function of Agleb Cam you might not be familiar with. Pushing L changes how Agleb Cam works when you switch from Mario Cam to Lakitu Cam, and I do that to make sure that I have the right camera going into this section here. It allows the camera to not swing around Mario, which makes it significantly easier to jump into those wall kicks. Once again, some kind of camera maneuvering so it doesn't get stuck on any walls, that's a big part of this. And here we have another section which was a very major run killer until we found a new strategy that made it a lot more consistent. Here, what we found is that if you backflip into the lava here, it actually gives you a very good, I guess momentum? I'm not sure what the exact word is, but it essentially makes the section very fluid. And here, I actually use Mario's sound effects to determine whether or not I've hit the lava there. And that allows me to know if I need to go back and get another metal cap, or if I can keep going. So, despite how intimidating all that stuff looks, it's actually quite consistent. And that's thanks to all the new strategies we found. So, very excited about that one. Now we're back on the heave-ho. This section's not too bad. I mean, we've seen it before. Just need to wait for this guy to walk around a little bit, so that way he's not in an awful position. There's gonna be a lot of heave-ho waiting in this attempt, because God, Randy, please stop putting heave-hos everywhere, please. Triple to wall kick. Going as fast as possible actually makes that amp unable to hit you, which is pretty nice. It also despawns him in a nice position so he's not coming back here. Pretty nice. Get over here. Quicksand that you grab around. Very simple section. Alright, this is a little weird because some of the collision here can be a little fucky-wucky if you do the wrong thing. I found that if you do a Quicksand that you grab onto the platform and dive directly, that's pretty consistent. Or the slope, not the platform. That Snuffet's actually pretty difficult to dodge. I have to wait until a specific point in his cycle to jump for him. That makes it pretty consistent, but you also need to do some pretty good movement there, so I purposely hold back a lot, and that actually gives me some backwards momentum, So when I hold forward, Mario takes longer to accelerate, which makes the Snuffit more likely to shoot me when I'm still moving forwards and not at like the apex of my jump when I'm going back. And there I need to do a chain long jump with a very bad camera. The camera there is so hard to manipulate. I might talk a little bit more about it later, just to get around that scuttlebug. When this Hifo first spawns, also, he's always on the same cycle because, you know, he's just spawned, he spawns in the same position every time. So he actually lines up perfectly so you just jump around. And here, there's a cheese. You're not supposed to jump down there, but Rambies did not put in an invisible wall to protect that section, so you can skip one of the hardest jumps on the stage. I know that was a lot all at once, but that section's very dense. There has been so much time put into strategizing the stage to make it as consistent as possible, to the point where I personally think that if all the cheeses in the stage were not discovered, this would be harder. This would be the hardest part in the game. At the very least, it would be the contender for it. The cheeses did not kill the stage though. Even with all of them, this is still the hardest thing I've done in this game by a pretty good margin. It's just the cheeses definitely are what made the star happen now, and not 2 years from now. Alright, jump down here. There's a pretty dumb trick here. The jumps in that little alcove area weren't too notable. The QSLG into wall kick is actually pretty awkward, but the pause buffering makes it decently consistent, but it's just personally something I'm not that good at, which is very unfortunate because, again, you do it a lot in the stage. Alright, here's one of the few instances where you can actually see that this stage is a reference to Treasure World Bowser 3, because if you didn't know, the stage is a reference to Treasure World Bowser 3. This section is very reminiscent of one of the wall kick sequences in that stage, except this one's been buffed quite a bit. I need a pretty good angle and setup to get into this, and then I need to do a certain amount of wall kicks. I want to avoid firsties here, but not get super late wall kicks. And then I just do a pseudo setup, and that allows me to hit all these walls. These are quite precise, but if you set it up properly, it's not too bad. But you do need to know how to like micro adjust, and like you want to start holding on the first like precise wall kick. You want to hold left before you wall kick, and that maximizes your chances of reaching the next wall. There's a lot to it. It's very tricky. Definitely one of the most difficult jumps that you reclimb. Lastly, there's this QSLG wall kick, one more of those into a thin wall kick. There is a corner strat, or corner physics strat, oops, I misspoke. I tried it, I personally don't like it. If you want to see it, it's WBM, who's been making pretty impressive progress on the stage. By pretty impressive, I mean very impressive. It's awesome what he's doing. He used it. I think Sumbro was the person who found it, but you can see it there. I might show a video of it actually on screen. It's pretty cool, but I don't know, it's a little finicky, and sometimes I would die to it in practice, so I decided I'll stick to what I've practiced for dozens of hours, because I probably won't die to it. You know, it paid off, so. Let this amp hit you, so that way he won't bother you when you do a wall kick into QSLG, and here we are. We're red spawns. Unfortunately, we only have half of the red coins to spawn the star, and the star platform has decided that that is not enough, so time to go for more reds. Killing those Goombas is a little significant. They can get in the way on the triple jump wall kick QSLG maneuver, so you do want to actually kill them, so that way they can't bother you in the reclines. They can also kill you on that platform. It's extremely unlikely, but let's say that you're on the edge of the platform and you jump into the Goomba, but you jump close enough into the Goomba that when you jump he hits you, but you still have the vertical momentum from the jump, so you just get like this huge arc, and it sends you into the ring of quicksand. Very unlikely death, but that would piss me off if that happened. It's a good thing it did not happen though. Tricky chain long jump here. This is a little precise, but this is actually one of the things that was nerfed in 1.1 of this game. In the original version, you had to get every single wall kick would have to be a firstie here to get up this. It's pretty bad. This Lavabound section is very weird. It's there's a lot of like variance to it, and there's a lot of little things that can go wrong with it. it's quite annoying, and it was actually got pretty consistent when I started doing reds, but it was definitely one of the scariest parts of the stage. Here we have Joel Strat. Joel Strat was a strategy found by people who don't want to be credited for it, so I'm going to credit the funny fish Joel. We love Joel. That strat, that kick into the box looks like, why would you do that? Wouldn't you just double ground pound into it? And that sounds wise on paper, but the frame window to get the double ground pound is actually very small. Small enough that I missed it multiple times on attempts that were as far as 14 out of 22 big coins. So once it started happening, we started looking for better strats, and we found Joel Strat, where if you kick into the box, you can very consistently hit the metal cap and live. It's weird how consistent it is, actually. On this wing cap section here, I hug the wall, the right wall specifically. That's the way this amp spawns. The amp actually hit me here, which has never happened before this, but it's not a big deal. All I want is I don't want the amp to spawn when I get here, because if he spawns when I get here, it kind of poses some problems, because he can just get in the way of his wall kicks, and I'll have to wall kick back through the tunnel, which is very awkward. So now I have the forbidden combination of metal and wing cap. Despite how easy it is to do this cheese, Rambi never found it in testing apparently, so you can actually combine the metal cap and wing cap and get a wing cap outside of that isolated cage. Funnily enough, the Bowser 3 version of the stage does not have this problem, but Everlasting Encore does. It's a little weird. The every coin there is also quite awkward. I have to purposely, I have to turn my camera with the D-pad to get a decent view of the lava so I don't die. So that part's definitely tricky. If you don't, basically it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you do it correctly, it's not that bad, but if you do it incorrectly, it's very bad. Alright. So now we're actually going to abuse the wing cap a little more than just getting one red coin. We're actually going to skip an entire reclaim. So on the star 4 path, there's a pretty tricky red, and once you get it, you would normally actually have to jump down the stage and do another reclaim. We will not be doing that. We will be skipping that little process. And we can get this middle cap here to refresh your timer. It's worth noting that in this hack, the wing cap only lasts for 20 seconds, which 20 seconds is the same amount of time as the metal cap lasts. So it doesn't actually matter which cap, it doesn't matter which caps you grab here, you'll always have the same timer. So I'm going to ground pound this box. This is going to let the metal caps slide along the floor, which lets me triple jump into it. It gives me a little more time. This wing cap flight is very precise, and I actually come very close to fucking it up here. I'm going to slide into the ground with a downwards pitch. That's going to conserve some of that downwards momentum, which will give me a slight speed boost for the next flight. But you saw that corner there. I turned that corner very poorly, which gives me so little time that I'm blinking at this point. I used the wing cap's momentum to fly up there, and I barely get off that ground pound onto the ground. That is extremely tight the way I do it. Normally it's not that tight. Normally it's pretty forgiving, but there I got very lucky and I managed to barely get the ground pound. That's tough, man. That will not be the last close call. Trust me. This attempt barely works out. I didn't mention some things about this Lavabound sequence. The first thing I didn't mention is that this corner here actually has a collision that pushes you, or that gets you stuck in the corner, which actually makes it easier, because it makes it simple to hit the lava. In here, the reason why I seem to like teleport forwards is because there's actually a one-way wall here. That's what I'm wall kicking off. It pushes you into the cage in one direction, but it'll prevent you from getting out. So it makes it so that little Lavabound sequence isn't as precise as it looks. This isn't a T-Don situation, which I'm thankful for. Make this corner, which I actually took pretty awkwardly here. This angle was very bad. Almost got hit by the amp as well. It's very awkward in general. Grab another metal cap real quick, and now it's time to make another big flight. But unfortunately, this flight is a little different. Please ignore that chat message about the rippling fart that ends galaxies. I don't know what that person was on. Anyways, fly down here. I have a visual cue for this, which makes it pretty simple, but I actually messed it up a little bit here. I'm not really sure exactly what I did wrong, but unfortunately, as you can see here, my wing cap's running out quite early, and I barely get off the ledge grab there. That was extremely tight. The fact that that made it is honestly a miracle. I look down to see, because there's another coin here, and unlike the last trips, I am out of wing cap, and unfortunately I'm kind of stranded here. It's worth noting that that wing cap skipped 12 minutes of QSLGs straight. Over 700 QSLGs in a row were skipped with that wing cap cheese. So yeah, pretty major. Jump down here, go forward. Here I do 2 QSLGs, which lines me up with this hole, and enter the hole, and now it's time for a very difficult section of wall kicks. So, first things first, on the slope here, pause the game on that little white line in the middle of it. That gives you a pretty good setup to slide off here. It's worth noting that I mess it up a tiny bit here. As you can see, Mario's angle is very straight. That's a bit of a problem. I want a little more angle than that. If you don't have enough angle there, you'll need some firsties to get up, which I thankfully immediately got. But if you don't get those firsties, you can be in some major trouble. So, you really want to be careful with that thing. I barely made that work. Okay, so I get to the end of that QSLG sequence, and now we have some pretty simple jumps. As you can see, my shadow is gone again, and I mentioned earlier that there was a point in the stage when having no shadow actually matters, and it's coming up on this jump. Having no shadow for this jump kinda sucks. It's real bad. So first we need to wall kick up this little shaft here to get to the top, and now we need to make this arch. This arch is precise. It is very precise. You need to get, well, you don't need anything in particular for this. You can make this with just second frames and like good spacing, but in order to maximize chances, I'm going for a firstie on the last wall kick here, and I'm also hoping that the ceiling kind of pushes me out so I can lose as little speed as possible. That's very difficult, so you're going to see me here for a little while. But this jump is just so precise and awkward, it actually killed a lot of practice attempts. So I really wanted to make sure in the attempt here that I gave this jump the time it deserves and just took it carefully, took it slowly. As you can see there, that was a firstie, I believe, that arched out, but I didn't go for it because I didn't like the spacing, so I went back, and that's the kind of thing you need for attempts at the star this long. And in a star this long, you're gonna eventually make a mistake. But the thing is that when you're grinding a star like this, it's not about playing perfectly every single frame of gameplay. It's about when you do make a mistake, either try to make the best of it or just move on and just keep going. Just keep going for as long as you can, and just focus on the jump. A lot of my attempts that got far and died were because I wasn't focusing on the jumps. I was focusing on other things that didn't matter. You just need to keep going. It doesn't matter how sloppy the attempt is. What matters is that you're here now, focus on the jumps, and just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually you will finally prevail. It just takes a while sometimes. Still here, still getting stuck, but I think I'm gonna get it soon, if I remember correctly. One of the threats here is hitting the very edge. It's sometimes called lid collision. The term that I often use for it is the death pixel, where if you hit the very edge of a wall, you'll bonk on it, but you can't wall kick. That's the big threat here. I finally get a good one, and that is why the shadow is a problem there. You cannot see your shadow on that quicksand, so you kind of just have to eyeball whether or not you're above it or not. As you can see, that was tight. Here I have a pause buffer setup and holding a diagonal. I actually use a notchless controller, which makes that setup a little less consistent, but it does work still, because it's not the most unforgiving thing. This transition here into precise wall kicks into thins, that is very difficult. That is very difficult because when you turn the camera, like the angle's a little weird, and the precise wall kicks themselves, very precise and difficult. If you ledge grab, you actually can save it as long as you don't do a quick ledge grab and die, but the camera, there's so many factors that just make that so difficult, and I think it's one of the jumps in the stage that really is like, yeah, it makes sense why that's hard. That shit's brutal, man. It's so easy to die on that. Which is kind of ironic because I actually never died on that in an attempt. This attempt you're seeing, that was my first time getting to that precise wall kick into thin sequence. And it's my first time getting to the reclimbs. So, yeah, fluke from 17. But, I had to work for it. It's worth noting that this wall kick sequence here, you saw it on the first go round, but I didn't mention it. There's actually an invisible wall here, which is why I pause buffer. The invisible wall generally won't kill you if you do it the correct way, but it does exist, and you do need to. You can't just go if it hits you. You do need to go back and get a little more speed. So you have to be aware of it, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So just play it safe, and you'll be okay. And of course, this looks familiar, right? Because, well, we've already mentioned it, but this is a reclimb. And this isn't the last reclimb, it's only the first one, so. Buckle your seatbelt, everyone, because this is going to be an emotional journey. It's going to take a while for the start to end, but there's a lot to talk about, and I'm very excited to do it. So, let's begin. Yeah. Alright, it's reclimb time. Everyone loves the reclimbs in Everlasting Encore. There's a reason why there's Encore in the name. It's because you do every jump 20 times. So, from this point onwards, there's not really much to talk about jump-wise. So, this next 40 minutes is essentially going to be me rambling about the attempt and how I feel about this. So, let's just start with what makes the star so difficult. The length is really rough. Length is so brutal. Now, I consider myself to be pretty good at handling length, of stars, that is. I tend to, not get too nervous towards the end of stars, and my nerve control in this attempt was actually very good. I'll talk a little more about that later. But, there's a certain point when you're gonna break, and you're just gonna, you're gonna start being too nervous to play. It's gonna be difficult for you to, keep up going, keep playing at such a high level for so long. That's what kills you in stars like this. Because in isolation, each jump that you're seeing here isn't too bad. But you have to remember all the pressure, everything that's going through your head when you're in this moment. What you're thinking isn't just, I need to do this jump. It's, if I die, that's 40 plus minutes gone. I have to redo everything. That's a PB that I lost to a mistake that I might regret. It might have been an easy jump. I might look back on it and think wow, that was such a dumb way to lose. That's hard. And it's also just choking sucks. It's hard to enjoy choking, and a big thing about a grind is appreciating PBs regardless of how late they are. You know, if you die to the last jump, at least you got that far, but it's hard to always have that bright and happy mentality all the time, because it's just hard. There's no other way to put it. It's just that's what grinding is. Grinding is a lot about mentality, and I think some people underrate that. I don't think people realize how big mentality is. And you can hear at the beginning of this attempt, I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed, because the session that got this was a session that got consistently past Cage, got to 10 and 11 out of 22s, and just lost attempts. Lost some to random stuff, to the Goomba I mentioned earlier. Lost it to the Kyusuji into wall kick. There's another one that died. I can't actually remember why, but it did die to something stupid. And just all that death and stuff. It's all those mistakes you make are just it's hard to deal with them, because that's time wasted. It's time that you spent getting that far that you're not gonna get back. You just lost that time. And keeping a positive mentality throughout that is so difficult. It's so incredibly hard. And then all of this is going through your head, and when you're on the attempt of your life, an attempt that people are excited for, people get excited about this stuff. People want you to succeed, and that's difficult sometimes. It's hard to think. It's hard to play well when you're thinking about all of that stuff. There's a lot of factors to it. There's a lot of things that just it's not just a reclimb. It's a reclimb that's on top of everything that you've done before it. You just have to do the entire second half of a star under a pressure that you've done all of this to get that far. That's hard. That's a skill that takes so much practice to get good at. And the worst thing is that the practice doesn't come by loading a save state and trying again. It just comes with just hours of playing and experience. And it's that's what makes it so difficult. You can't just press S7 and get that experience again. You have to get that attempt. You have to just get good at it. Here I jumped down because I counted a little wrong. I was very excited about having this PB, and that translated in my gameplay a little bit there. So I was counting too fast, which made my visual cue a little messed up. Thankfully, I have done this before, so I knew that you could just jump down there and land on the platform. So I knew what I was doing here, and I actually wasn't scared about it. As you can see, the chat is a lot more fearful than I was, because I've been here before. I know what I'm doing. I'm the expert. I'm just kidding. I actually love the chat. The chat got me through this, dude. Because like when I was grinding RR, that RR sucks, dude. I hate RR. RR is the worst stage I've ever played, dude. I hate that level. But you know what got me through it? It was reading the chat. It was streaming it. It was the experience I got by streaming the star. Some of the streams were so fun, even the ones where I wasn't playing that good. And this stage was the same. I won't lie, I don't think I mentioned that I didn't want to do this offline just on the principle of I don't want to get a star this hard offline, but to be honest, I also like, I don't think I could get a star like this offline. I don't think I have the mental fortitude to just keep pushing through a star this long and brutal without just having all the support of like my friends and chat like pushing me onward to go that like extra distance and keep going, and it makes it more enjoyable. I feel like with Twitch chat I can enjoy any star sometimes, and that's a great feeling. It's a great feeling because it sucks when you play your favorite game and you just have a bad experience, because it's like, well shit dude, like now you're thinking like, do I want to keep playing the game? And I love Mario 64. There's a reason I've pushed Dream Edition and this game as far as I have. It's because I have real passion for it, you know? And it's like, I love this game, and I can't see myself quitting it in any time in the near future, but there are days when I get mad. There's days when I get upset. And sometimes that's just what it is. But I love Twitch streaming. I'm never upset about Twitch streaming. I love it. I love being able to just load up a stream and just have a bunch of people there and, you know, just talk to people. That's awesome. I love it. It's great. Truly incredible. So yeah, that's really what pushed me to get this far. And that's why I can't really say like I got the star. It's why I speak in like the we's and stuff so much, because it's like, yeah, I think it was the help of chat that made it this possible. The help of, and I hate calling them chat because that makes it sound like it's just an ambiguous body. It's really like the people that were there and sat through so many of the awful shit. And it's not like there was that much to sit through in this grind. It's like, it was 52 hours long, this entire grind, including practice, which is very short for a star this hard. The fact that I got it this fast at all is incredible. And honestly, entirely due to the fact that this is my first attempt to get to the reclimbs. Like, that's crazy. Getting all those in a row. I did practice them more than I thought I would. I thought that once I got them once, I wouldn't touch them again, but I decided towards the end, like, okay, well, I should probably practice these a little bit more to make sure I'm good at them. There was that video on the second channel where I had the Aku GIF playing, where I did all the reclimbs, and when I was doing that, it felt a little unnecessary, like, this is just some extra dumb practice I'm doing for the sake of doing practice, but clearly it paid off because I got really consistent at everything, and if I didn't do that extra practice, I would have definitely died to some things on the reclines because I didn't fully understand them. The main reason I didn't want to practice them was just because it's fucking boring, man. The reclines on the stage are not that fun to play. It's a lot of nothing jumps, and when you're in the intensity of an attempt and like everything is going slower because you're scared and you're nervous, it's like, that's a little bit, that's like, that's when it gets a little more interesting. It's like more enjoyable because like, it's in a way it's a fun type of, it's a fun type of like stress, but it's also very painful to the point where it's like, there were times when I was just like, I almost wanted to die to a jump because I knew if I didn't die, I would have to continue the attempt, and continuing attempts under this pressure is agony. In a way, there is that sense of relief when you finally do lose the attempt and die. Because, you know, you didn't get it, but like, it's that release in tension. There's that huge moment where it's just like, I can finally relax. I'm not on edge anymore. it ended and I can play casually again. Because I care too much to not play just like how I normally would in these moments. You know? It's like that passion is like a double-edged sword, where it's like now it's like biting me back, because it's like, you know, I have all this like love for the game, but that means I care about it. I want to succeed. I want to accomplish my goals. But that's kind of antithetical, or the nemesis, I don't know, some word there that fits it. To just, it's just like the opposite of just like, it's what makes you nervous is that passion. Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't get nervous. What would there be to get nervous over? You know? Which, talking about all these nerves means that it's a good time to talk about controlling them now. Because despite how much I've talked about the nerves, I'm actually very proud of how I controlled them in this attempt. I won't lie, at the very end I was losing control over my nerves. I was getting the feeling that my hands were heavier, and like they were made of rocks and stuff, and like, that is hard, dude. That's a hard feeling. It's hard to play when you're starting to lose feeling in your hands, but up until those like last couple jumps, when I was really feeling that, I was actually able to control them okay, you know? It's like, I was definitely excited, and you know, there was like, it's very clear that I'm playing a lot more safe here, but I was able to focus on the game and nothing else. I was still reading chat, because I'm one of those people who like, some people like closing chat when they're on a good run. Personally speaking, I don't do that, because I feel like, I don't like the idea of like making the attempt special in your head, because I feel like that makes you more attached, and it doesn't just make you more likely to fuck up, it makes you more likely to get angry when you do. So that's kind of simply talked about that when he got his world record, his 138.28. About how like, yeah, that's like a big part, is just like, you know, just like that apathy. But it's not just apathy, because if it's pure apathy, then you'll just throw the attempt at doing dumb shit. It's like the perfect mixture of like optimism and like willingness to let go almost, that like guides you through these attempts and allows you to play without too many nerves. Eventually though, those thoughts of how far you are and how far you've come and what are the consequences for dying and what will happen when you succeed, that's going to get to you eventually. Here, there's a quick break where I do 6 to 9 breakdances because someone asked me to. I like doing breakdances whenever people prompt them. It's just a quick way to prove if someone's like playing a task or a pre-recorded video, so I like to do breakdances. It also can help calm your nerves because it can distract you from everything because you're counting, I guess. Normally when I'm nervous, I don't like to take breaks. I do like to like keep going because I feel like when I take breaks, it's kind of reinstilling that feeling that like, oh, this is something special because I'm taking a break, you know? So I feel like in that sense, it's a little tricky. I guess it's worth talking about this from an accomplishment standpoint now because, yeah, I've talked about all the nerves and stuff. On an accomplishment standpoint, I can't describe how proud I am of myself for getting through this, dude. I mean, I talked about it a tiny bit at the beginning, and I mentioned, like, this star was a meme, but it really was. This star was a total joke, dude. Like, a complete and utter joke. Like, no one could have imagined this happening. I mean, Shine will tell you that she imagined it, but, you know, that's a little different. Most people who really, like, follow the game and, like, you know, like, 99% of people didn't think this was gonna happen until recently. Some people are a little different. Some people, you know, are optimistic. And I respect that, but I'm gonna be honest. From my perspective, I couldn't even begin to imagine this happening. This happening was like a total dream for me, and like I just, it's very shocking to think about. There were times when like I got it and like I had to remind myself like, yeah, you got it. That happened. Like, because it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like it happened because I can't imagine a world when it happened. And that happened to me when I got BTTF Reds, when I got Monsters of Future Reds. It's like, I got it, but like, I couldn't imagine that I did. And it wasn't until like weeks after I got the star ones, like it really settled on me. There I actually made a little mistake. One of my camera inputs did not go through because I guess I just didn't input it correctly. and that caused me to have to do a diagonal thin. That's another one of those close calls in this attempt that barely got me through, and unfortunately I actually have to do a little dance with the Heave-Ho. If you haven't realized, the enemies have been extremely obnoxious. There was that other Heave-Ho that was dancing around that was super annoying. There's the Scuttlebug that I had to long jump past. There's just a lot of enemies, and honestly, I hate the enemies in this game sometimes, man. Like, some ROM hacks are like okay with the enemies, and then some of them are like this. Like, there's so many enemies in this game that are just so annoying. Like, all the Heave-Hos, like, Wall Melancholy has that one Heave-Ho on the slope. That one sucks. I hate that one. And then, like, you know, Course 13 has the Snuffets at the end. There's just so much of that in this game where it's just like, there are just enemies in the worst possible spots. It's like you got like a psychologist major, Rambi, to just like pick apart the human brain to understand exactly where the enemy should go to be as annoying as possible. It's so infuriating every time, dude, because I just hate them. I don't like the enemies, dude. They suck. It's very annoying to get stuck dancing with the Heave-Ho for ages. Alright, so the first reclimb has completed. Well, it's not really complete because there's still a little bit more, but we do need to keep going. We haven't actually gotten a arena in a while, if you haven't noticed. That's because a lot of the reds are at the top of the stage at this point, but we'll need to jump down again to get them. So yeah, it's gonna be a while to get these last 5 coins. In fact, these last 5 coins consist of over half of the attempt. That's a lot of time spent getting 5 coins. It's a little unorthodox, but that's just how the stage is built. Not built very well. I don't think anyone really looks at the stage and goes, yes, this is game design. Well, actually, as I said that, I remember the one person who does, but let's not talk about him. I didn't mention it last time, but these walls here don't have corner physics, so you can freely wall kick up there. Pretty nice stuff. Fun fact, there's a line of coins in this area that's impossible to grab. I guess you did see it when I finished the wing, with the first wing cap cheese. It's impossible to grab because Rambi changed the geometry of that area to make it not first year required, but he didn't change the coin location, so there's just a bunch of coins over Quicksand that you can never grab. Once again, Joel Strat to the rescue, and here there is one of the scariest close calls in any attempt I've ever done. Right there, I hit the lava super early. That's a bit of a problem. Yeah, that's tight. I think that frame I paused was the frame before the wall pushed me, and if it didn't push me on the next frame, I'm pretty sure I would have died. That shit is absurd. Not dying there after such a bad approach is like literally luck dependent, I believe. It literally depends on like how you get speed capped, to the point where I was considering just going for a .99, which if you don't know how to do that, you just hold to the very, just like barely outside the dead zone. And that like it makes you go at a constant speed, but it's like a random speed as well. So I was tempted to go for that, but I was like, okay, well, fuck it. Like I might as well just like try. Maybe that was good enough. And it was. It made it, which I'm grateful for. Okay, we're gonna do another reclimb skip here. And the way we skip this reclimb is instead of just like a full-on skip where we just get to go back. We're actually going to skip this reclimb by compiling it with another reclimb. So, get this metal cap here. I actually will ground pound the box, the double ground pound. That's the strat that we primarily use to get the metal cap. But like I said, it's a low frame window and it killed me so many times that I decided, like, fuck this dude, I'm tired of dying to this. Just do the kick strat, the Joel strat. And it worked. We love Joel Strat. It was like the best discovery ever. It was such a relief when we found it. Right, so there's this red coin in the corner here, but we still have a wing cap, and it just so happens that if you fly to the left here and make a turn, you can go to the Troll Star Party area and actually come to the right here, and your wing cap will have enough to get to this area, where you can jump down for this red. It's worth noting that if you do it properly, you could come up for the red, and that would skip a little bit of this reclimb, but that's so difficult, dude. It is just, doing that is just not very feasible in an attempt, just like in a casual attempt, so it's not something I went for, it's not even something I really considered. Maybe someone else will find like some setup to make it more consistent, but I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't. But really, I'm not the best at that kind of thing. Like, this might sound like cope, but I'm not very good at finding strategies in this game for some reason. I guess it's because I just have like tunnel vision, which when I was making Mario Maker levels I had really bad tunnel vision. I would always just like miss over the most obvious cheese ever because I was just so ignorant. It was really frustrating. But it kind of applies in this game too. There's a lot of strategies that are like very simple that like I just never found because I don't know. That's why I'm thankful that there's so many people who are good at finding strategies that actually do it for me, essentially, because without all the strategies people found, god, this stage would be so much harder. I was the person who primarily routed the wing cap, so because of that I kind of have my own semblance of self-doubt that it's optimal. I would not be surprised if someone comes up with a better wing cap route than me that like skips another reclaim or something. But I feel like I really don't mind that too much, because like, the way that you do the accomplishment matters more than the tangible accomplishment you get. And I'm not saying that to, like, discredit anyone who gets the star with a bigger cheese. What I mean more so is, like, regardless of what is found, even if there's a strat that skips every reclimb somehow, I still have the knowledge that I accomplished this. And it's personal to me. It's like, the way I'm valuing this accomplishment is not based on the fact that, like, I did it and it's called Everlasting Encore Reds. It's thinking about everything I did. When I think I got Everlasting Encore Reds, I think these are the jumps I did. I did the reclimbs, I did the precise troll star jump, I did the first grinding, I did that dumbass intro that everyone hates, I did like the wall kick or the Kyo's need to wall kick I'm bad at, I did the precise hole wall kick that I'm bad at. You know, like I did all of that stuff. That's awesome. You know, I did the wall kick in like the basement area is what we call it. I did the cage. All of that. I did all of that. That's what I think of. You know, BTDF Reds. It's like, I didn't just get BTDF Reds, I got blue precise, I got the glitchy wall kick, quote unquote, because I missed it in the real temp, but you know what I mean. I did the extra reclaim, I guess, more accurately. I did the satellite jumps, I did the first grind, I did the hedges, I did, like, those precise slopes that Delfino found the good strat for. I did, like, the yellow tower. I did all of that. I did the ending. Like, that's what I think of when I think of the accomplishment. So it's like, in my head, the accomplishment is not the star, it's the jumps that got there, which is very cliche. It's like the journey matters more than the destination, but I feel like in this case, video game accomplishments, it really is true that the way it's done matters more than what you do. So regardless of what gets found, even if in the future, like a year from now, the star is significantly easier and like 10 people have it, you know, I did it this way and I'm proud of it. I don't think anything will ever make me not proud of it. That like emotional attachment is very nice to have. It makes me happy. Talking a little bit about this actual reclaim here. This reclaim is the longest one. As you can see, it starts from basically the very beginning of the stage. After, well, not the very beginning, but after like the hard shit in the intro. It starts. So this is like the most frustrating reclaim because it's just so lengthy. And unfortunately I couldn't like group in like the reverse way where you get like the farther red because it's so far away from spawn, or from the wing cap, sorry. So it's like, yeah, you can't really do much about it. The last 3 reds in the stage are all at the top of the level again, and they will require the one last reclimb, but that reclimb out of all 3 of them is the shortest, so the total number of reclimbs in the stage is 3, which, god, that sucks. Although to be fair, not the last time, or not the first time we've seen some brutal reclimbs, because Course 13 is actually pretty bad on the reclimbs. If you remember, the ending of that stage is reclimb heaven, dude, or hell rather for most people. Maybe in a way I have some level of masochistic instincts that makes me enjoy grinds like this, because I feel like most people would not enjoy grinds like this. So maybe I am a bit of a masochist, which sometimes I feel that when like I'm like playing Clone Hero and I get enjoyment from the pain that my arm feels from heavy strumming. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I just like it. Maybe I'm just weird. But like, I don't know. I'm having fun. The fact that I enjoy it feels good. Like, being able to enjoy something like this, obviously with the help of stream, like I mentioned, like, that means a lot to me, dude. I'm so happy I can have fun with this game and play this. Like, that just makes me so happy, dude. It is great. Once again, another obnoxious heave-ho. Some of these sections I obviously did cleaner on the first go-around, but remember that when you go on the first go-around, all the enemies are just now spawning into the stage, so they have slightly more consistent like setups for them. That doesn't really work on some other ones. On the reclimbs. On the reclimbs, it's like, well, they've already spawned, they're on some like weird-ass cycle, so you just kind of have to react to it. So you have these long-ass enemy tussles where I'm just fucking going toe-to-toe against this asshole. I hate him so much, dude. I hate the enemies. The enemies make me so angry. They make me mad. Grr. Those are my angry noises. I hope they were sufficient. This stage looks so bad. I should probably, like, I don't know, I should talk more about, like, the stage in general. It's like, God, this stage is so badly designed. Me and Maria were thinking about, like, this, like, what would a better version of Dream Edition be like, and we thought of, like, Super Mario Treasure World Daydream Edition. It'd basically be Dream Edition, but without all the shit. Which, honestly, that could be pretty interesting. I might consider making something like that in the future, where there's like a version of Dream Edition that isn't the worst thing ever created by humanity. I don't know. I think that could make for something interesting, and maybe it would get more people playing the game, just like some version of the game. Maybe even make it a fun challenge while still retaining most of the difficulty. Although, admittedly, we would probably nerf like T-Don, because fuck that stage, and this one, because fuck the stage, and Final Tragedy, because fuck that stage. I like that little punch slide that you do sometimes when you just like when you mess up your punch cancel timing. So Mario just like punches in place and just slides. It reminds me of that one Lunar Jump clip when he is in Lethal Lava Land and he punches on the top of the fucking fence. God, that's so funny to me. This arch here is hella annoying. It's so easy to get stuck forever on this thing. Arches are really annoying, just in general, because you just get stuck on them all the time, especially when you're on the pressure of an attempt. I could turn the camera and do the thins cam, or like the vertical cam, whatever you want to call it. But I decided that was a little risky, and I would just rather throw my head at the ceiling for a million hours. Ended up being a little better. Or a little safer, rather. It's not really better, it's just safer. But safety matters a lot. There's a distinction between safe strats and just like safely stupid, I guess. I don't know how to say it, but like there's like a certain genre of safety strat that is not good. Pretty much like my advice is like, if you're doing a safe strat and it's not something you've practiced, then just do what you're comfortable with. What you're comfortable with is always safer than like what's the objective best option, if you haven't practiced that best option, that is. You never want to like under pressure rely on something that you haven't practiced. That's never, you never want to get caught in a situation like that, because that's how you choke. I'm leaving a lot of the coins here because I need these coins. I might need these coins for later, rather. I don't need them, but it's good to have the coins for later, because if you lose HP, that HP meter is pretty annoying. There's not really like mandatory damage until the very end. After the red coin star platform, on that Lavabound sequence, I do need at least 7 HP to not die. Preferably 8, so I can take a hit from the amp inside the cage there and not die. And when I say cage, I don't mean the cage, I mean the wing cap cage. Very subtle difference, but there is a difference. So while HP doesn't matter too much, I do want to leave enemies lying around that aren't too harmful, so that way I can kill them. There's obviously a difference between an enemy that sucks and an enemy that is just something that you can just deal with. So I'm not gonna worry too much about like that scuttlebug I left alive. That precise jump is so scary, dude. I should also talk about grinding firsties under pressure. Grinding firsties under pressure is horrible, dude. It's so bad. It's very easy to get tilted, and when you start getting tilted, that creates the issue of like, okay, I'm all tilty now. I'm a tilty baby, so now I'm making mistakes, and I'm fucking. I'm missing firsties. I'm getting mad about it. I'm getting more aggressive. I'm starting to like go for more bold firsties. I'm starting to go for more things that would kill me if I messed them up. When you start doing things like that, that's when you start dying to firstie grinding. Now this particular instance of firstie grinding is pretty much the opposite of what I mentioned, because I got every firstie first try. So that was pretty free, but on the last reclimb you're going to see me get very frustrated if you rather watch the raw footage, because you never want to die to fucking firstie grinding, dude. It's so frustrating. But it happens, and it happens because you get frustrated. And in a sense, that is a form of nerves. The more mistakes you make, it's like the more like you're gonna be pressured into just fucking exploding and just dying, because you're just pissed. Like, you want to get past. You don't want this. You don't want the feeling of the nerves and like the pressure to keep building and building, because the longer you're in the stage, the more that feeling is gonna build up, and the more likely it's gonna kill you. Once again, the eyeball looking at me. So annoying, dude. That eyeball was so cruel. Dude. You can see how pissed the chat is when it happens, because like nobody, like, the eyeball looking at you is like, it's not a big deal, but it's like, you want things to go right. You want things to go your way when you're on a fucking 19 out of 22 in Everlasting Encore. You want like things to at least go right now, you know? But sometimes it doesn't work out like that, but that's why you practice scenarios. That's why you need to. A big part of this is like, you need to know what's gonna happen, because if you get caught off guard by something, you're gonna slip up. You're gonna make a mistake. You're gonna die, because you're gonna freak out. You know, it's normal to freak out when you see something like fucking brand new out of nowhere. So you gotta be ready. And sometimes it's hard to be ready. Even now, rewatching this, it's like, I get nervous watching this, dude, and I know what happens. I know I win. I know I'm gonna get the star. Fuck, dude, it's nerve-wracking. The music that was playing during this attempt was crazy, by the way. I would honestly recommend listening to the attempt yourself, because oh my god, some of the music moments, I cannot give the words to do them justice, but let's just say that my music shuffle playlist was like the perfect blend of like cruel and amazing. It was so awesome, some of the music, dude. But god, some of them were not helping me, dude. Some of them were not helping the nerves. I didn't want to sit there shuffling music for an hour, so I kept going. And of course, the infamous city escape moment, which, god, that was hilarious. Maria put, like, City Escape in my playlist as a joke. And of course, the one time it plays at the end of the last reclaim of Everlasting Encore. God. Thank you, Maria. Still now, it's like when I think about this, and I think I have to practice Everlasting Encore. There's a jump that, you know, works, or there's a jump that I need to work on. It's like I always think about that, and then that's when I remember that I got the star. Because in my head, I still haven't internalized that I got it, and I know one day I'm gonna be lying down in bed, and I'm just gonna remember like, oh my gosh, I got Everlasting Encore. And it's like. Dude, when that happened to me in BTTF Reds, it was like a big moment, and like I'm still kind of like a squealy girly baby about it. Like I'm still like every day just like take a moment, just like jump in my bed, 'cause like, oh my god, I got Everlasting Encore, which is like, I know it's kind of cringy, but it's like, fuck dude, I'm so excited. It's so exciting to think I got it. It's like, I can't shut up about it, because it's like, it's the thing that like, oh, it's such a ridiculous thing to happen. It's like, I can't believe it happened, dude. You can't see me obviously, but I'm smiling a lot right now because, fuck, dude, God, I can't believe it sometimes. I can't believe how far Dream Edition has come. It makes me so happy because, like, I fucking hate this game, but I also love it. I love a lot of things about this game. This game just makes me happy, okay? And it's like, God, it's so stupid sometimes. Some of the things in this game are so dumb. But God, I will never be able to take my attention away from it, dude. I'm always gonna get a little giddy when I see someone else playing it, because it's like, someone else is playing this game that I've nerded out about and I've talked about and I've played for so many hours. Probably over 900 hours in this one hack. And that's, remember that like, I spend time playing other hacks. It's like, it's not just 900 hours, it's also the other 1,000 of hours of experience, you know? Regardless of how long this grind actually took, it's kind of the culmination of all the time I've put into this game. I've put so many hours in this game from the very beginning. When I started playing, I was playing Last Impact and I was doing it with save states, and it's like, well, this is hard, you know? But I look up to people like Stan and Mop, and I think about them and it's like, wow, they can do some amazing things in this game. I want to be like that one day. I want to do what Mop does. I want to do what Stan does. And you know, that pushed me. That still pushes me, because like, to some degree I still feel like those two are just like these immortal beings in my mind that like will never be topped. And it's like, God, I just love thinking about that. Just like that thought that like those two people were just so inspirational to me, and I want to be that for other people. I want other people to get into this game because of me, and like I want to inspire people to push themselves in this game. I want people to, you know, get hard stuff like this, because that makes me happy. It makes me happy when more people, like, when I get more people into something I'm passionate about. Because I am passionate about this hobby. I love ROM hacks, dude. I love playing them so much. So it's like, every individual person that get into them is like, that's a success. It's another person, like, who found a passion. Like, it really does mean a lot when I see someone new into the community. It's like they saw me, and it's like I'm why they're playing, you know? That means a lot to me. It's indescribable how much it means to me. It makes me so unbearably happy. So even though this one grind is just 1 star, I feel like so much of this is just like, it very much is like every single hour I've played of this game has gone into this moment, you know? And I say that knowing that this isn't the end. It's not the end of Dream Edition. It's not the end of any grind. Well, it's the end of this grind, but it's not the end of like any major grind. Because I want to do more stuff. I want to play more Dream Edition. I want to play more Kaizo hacks. I want to speedrun more. I want to do runs at marathons. I want to grow the community. You know, I want to work on romhacking.com, especially their Discord server. It's like, I want to do these things. I want to keep going. And it's hard to have that time because I'm still in school. I'm still a closeted trans girl who can't really be herself too much except online. But that's okay, because that's gonna end, you know? Every single struggle here has an end. And you're watching one now. This is the end of the struggle to get Everlasting Encore. It's over now. One day the things I'm going through now will be over, and that'll be nice. One day I'll really get my voice training down and I'll have a nice voice, you know? That's cool. There's a lot of things to be excited about. An everlasting Encore is just another one of those things, man. From this point forward, every single jump is pretty much the last point you're doing, or the last time you'll do the jump, because this is it, we're approaching the last reclimb. There's one minor strategy change. Instead of letting the wing cap slide along the ground here, I'm instead going to ground pound into the wing cap box. The reason why I'm doing this slow wind up is because I actually do want to waste time here, and you'll understand why when I get here. So on this wing cap flight here, first things first, I need the scuttlebug to die. If the scuttlebug doesn't die, there's a big chance he kills me. So killing him, that's a big win. Second of all, I need this wing cap to run out so I can ledge grab. You can't ledge grab out of a wing cap flight, so I need that to run out in time so I can just go. Now if you're looking at my chat, you might notice a couple things. The first thing is that there's a lot of tunas. Yeah, it kind of just became an inside joke in this community to spam Joel. Joel is like a 7TV emote of just a rotating fish. I don't 100% understand it, but it's cool. It's funny. I like I like Joel. So, like, when this attempt got serious, it's like people were like, okay, well, we should just spam Joel. Instead of like saying words, we should spam Joel. I think that helped. I think that might have helped, because it made chat less interesting. When I looked over in chat, I just saw a million fish, so it's just like, well, not really much to read here. Let's focus on the game again. So, Joel did push us to be our better selves here. I think that's beautiful. God. Watching this again, like, I've already said this, but I really am feeling the pressure watching this again, dude. It's scary. Every single Kyosoji in my head here, I was thinking, like, every single Kyosoji I was hyper fixating on and thinking of, like, everything about. Because I was scared. I was really scared. I didn't want to be a dummy. Nobody does. You know, if I died to a missed wall kick or a quicksand ledge grab, that would have been rough, dude. Obviously, I'd keep going after that, but like, fuck, dude, that would put a damper on things. If this attempt died, I know for a fact I would have stopped for the day, and I would have picked it up again tomorrow. So it's just like thinking about on that moment of just like, what happened in this moment when I got the star was like the difference between me going to bed kind of like excited but discouraged by the fact that I got so close and didn't get it, and the complete polar opposite, which was actually getting it and just being so excitement and happy and just like that feeling, like, dude, that's why there's still the tension, because it's like, what if it didn't happen, you know? And I know if I got it, I would be asking the inverse. I would be sitting here in a VC with someone being like, fuck, man, what if it did happen? I'm just happy I'm not on that side of things. And I do have it because I like finishing grinds. I like having that success. That makes me happy. I like that a lot. It's time for the final reclimb. That's the last red. The moments following getting the star can really not be described. The shock I felt and like just the sitting in silence and just like all the conflict of emotions. There was a lot of loud excitement at the beginning because like I did a little scream after a while because like I was excited. It was kind of cringy, but you know, it's okay. Nothing wrong with being a little cringe. It's like And then it's just like the just being stunned, like almost doubting the world that you live in, because it's like, how is it real? How is it real that I just got everlasting Encore Reds? Like, that's crazy. That's really crazy. You really just like, it's shocking, you know? It's hard to deal with, and it's like, it's a release intention that I knew would happen eventually, but I didn't think it would happen the way it did. You know? I didn't think that I would just be done with the attempt and like be done with the grind. I thought I was gonna be done with the attempt and then just try again later. Nowadays, stars are getting so difficult that like every time I end, it's like I get a tummy ache because the nerves give me tummy aches. It's like, this was no different, dude. My stomach fucking hurt for like an hour after getting the star because the nerve. Which is weird because I truly wasn't nervous until the very end. Well, I was nervous, but like I was able to not feel the effects of nervousness while being aware that I was nervous, if that makes sense. Handling nerves is hard, but I've talked about that for ages. I've talked a lot. I've said a lot of things. Maybe I said too much. Maybe it was unnecessary to commentate this much of a star, where at a certain point I ran out of things to say about jumps because there were no more jumps. I think that's okay though. I think I got to show how much I care. I got to talk about a star that I'm excited about. And realistically, there's not many people who are going to see this because most people aren't going to sit through a star that's almost as long as a 120 star run. With this much repetition. At least in a 120 star run, you get fast movement, you get variety of visuals. We've been looking at the same gray, splotchy, green, grassy, and yellow cheese-looking quicksand for a very long time now. But a lot of people do stick through that, and that means a lot to me. It means a lot that my passion for this game in a way can be expressed through just people watching me play it. You know? Because it's like, this is not easy to watch. I don't think there's many people who would sit through this for so many hours. But there are. Every time I stream this, there were so many people. A lot of excited people who wanted to see a good run. And got to eventually. The positive atmosphere in every stream was so palpable that like I couldn't stay mad ever. I couldn't bring myself to stay mad. Why would I be angry? You know, when I have this much. Ironic because there was a bit of anger in this attempt because the last one ended with a Goomba. And this one, you know, I needed some way to cope with my feelings of nervousness. So I tried being angry. I stopped paying attention to what I said at a certain point because I feel like it stopped mattering. I feel like all that mattered is that I was playing the game. I don't remember basically anything I said. All I really remember is, to be honest, is that at one point during the QSOG section I thought I had to pee. But I didn't have to anymore because the nerves made me not pee. Because I don't know. I guess my body just sucked it in or something. It's like, that's what I remember saying. I don't remember anything else I said. You know? Because it's like, I was just fucking playing the game, dude. That's the experience I got. God, these firsties suck. These firsties really suck. I hate these firsties. But I never have to see them again. It's a hate and a love. You love the experience. You love the success, but you hate how the game is designed. You hate what brought you to the point that you are grinding firsties of 22 out of 22 reds in Everlasting Encore. But you love the game. That's why you play it. $179 stars is a really big number. There's only 3 left in the game. One of them is Final Tragedy 120s, which is just a glorified version of Star 5. One of them is Final Tragedy Reds, which is harder than this by a good margin. It's gonna be a while before that one happens. The last one is Suganento's Dawn Reds. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Just being entirely honest, I can't with 100% confidence say T-Dawn Reds is gonna happen. But at the very least I can promise you something, and that is whatever star count I end Dream Edition on, be it 180, be it 181, be it 182, it's going to be the best I could do. I'm going to push myself as hard as I can to get to that point where I can say, like, hey, I can't do it. And in that respect, I feel like T-Dawn Reds might be possible. Because while I can't see myself doing it right now, I also can't see myself... I can't imagine myself, like, quitting. It's not because I feel stuck doing it, it's because I want to push myself. I want to go as far as I can. That means a lot to me. And maybe it's possible. Maybe I'll do it. But at the very least, I'll try my hardest. I'll try my hardest to do all the other things I want. There's gonna be a lot of hacks coming out soon. There's speedruns to get to. New grinds. There's a lot to do. And I'm gonna do all of it. I want to play more Clone Hero. I want to play more Touhou. I want to play casual games. I have Legends Arceus and Bug Fables downloaded. I'm excited to play more of those. Those are really exciting to me. And I have Everlasting Encore Reds. I feel like it's hard to believe that someone like me could get this far. In the conditions I'm in, when I can't play that much, when I'm constantly dealing with just like so many difficult moments and so many mental health issues, it's like I've gotten this far to say that I'm not only here, I'm not only thriving, I'm not only happy, but I'm succeeding this much in the game I love. It's hard to imagine that this is like only a couple months after I felt like my life is over because the whole situation in May that happened, and I won't go into detail about that, but like that was hard. And I've had a lot of stuff like that. I've had a lot of moments when I've just been depressed and I've been sad. But it all ends, you know. Everything is I've already said this before, but everything ends at some point, and that includes the bad things. You're gonna complete your video game grind. You're gonna be done waiting for your fucking coffee or whatever. You're gonna get out of a depressive hole in your life eventually. It's hard sometimes because it's just like that, you know? But I promise that there is a way that there is going to be a point when whatever struggle you see is going to be something that is in the past, you know? And thinking about that really pushes me forward, and I hope that in some way saying this now is going to maybe push someone else to do something similar and keep going, because there is everyone watching this right now, and just most people in general have a lot of capacity to just feel happiness. And unless there's some like 70-year-old watching this, you know, there's a lot of time left. So Do what you love and love doing it. Be passionate about things you love. And get past whatever you're struggling on, because you will. At least I know I will, because I have everlasting Encore Reds. And I could keep going for hours. I could talk about things for hours, but I think it's better to just let the attempt go and just let you enjoy this. Goodbye. We have nothing to fear. We have nothing to fear. I just felt. Oh, okay. I'm fucking dreaming, dude. Yeah, dude! 52 hours. 52 hours, by the way. I got that shit in 52 hours. I fucking made Kaizo history in 52 hours. Save the motherfucking game, dude. Hey! Oh! Save state! Oh my fucking god. Dude, I did not think I was going to get that until I fucking... I did not think I was going to get that until I ledge grabbed the Quicksand. I am freaking out right now, dude. Excuse me. Oh my fucking god, dude. I'm sorry I didn't see all the fucking bits and the subs, dude, but oh my god. Thank you so much everyone who gave subs and bits, dude. Holy shit, I'll look at those after the stream. Thank you fucking for the fucking 110 viewers right now. I'm fucking freaking out, dude. I could not fucking believe that's real. Thank you so much everyone who's giving everything in bits and stuff. Oh my god. Please send that cacophony. Post on the fucking Discord. Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god. Dude. Oh my god. I did not think I was gonna do it. I did not think I was gonna do it today. I have to piss. Jeez, do not react to this, please. Oh my god, there's so many new people in chat, dude. Thank you so much, every single person that's here. Oh my god. Yeah, this was a... Oh my god, Crash. Thank you so much. Holy shit, that is huge. Oh my god. Holy shit, thank you so much, Crash. Oh my god. Oh my god. Thank you so much, Rexpinks. Your VIP? Oh, that's a VIP. That's a free VIP. That's a free VIP. Oh my god. Where's the fucking... Oh my god. Slash VIP link crash. Oh yeah, I guess by all definitions it was not free. Oh my god. I have come down with a sickness, dude. I have actually come down for fucking sickness. I will look through this chat again when I highlight this on Twitch. There's so much right now. There is just so much right now. This is the most attention fucking any dude, sir. Dude, I was thinking I should breakdance under the star, but when I realized I got it, I'm like, dude, I do not want to be the person. There was a snowstorm. I got an emergency alert. I'm not going to be the person who misses the star by a fucking second because I breakdanced and there was a power outage. That is the genuine reason why I did not breakdance, because I'm a fucking bitch. I'm a fucking baby who was scared there was going to be a power outage. Oh my god. I cannot fucking believe it, dude. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god, dude. That is fucking unreal. I'm gonna watch Echo's reaction right now. I'm gonna end the recording now. I don't know how long it's gonna take to make this video, but see you when it's complete.